time, I think we could start, and then, even though we don't have quorum, we just don't do the voting. We don't have a voting quorum. So we just don't vote on anything, but we can still proceed with the presentations. How does people feel about that?
I mean, that's fine. So just to clarify, the number of people on the board in totality is 7.
We have 4.
Am I still on
4,
the
there's
packet?
2 at large, right? That
Yeah,
aren't
but they
filled.
aren't filled.
Yeah.
And then there's 1 budget committee, 1 school board, 1 council,
So
1
on the
planning
school
board.
board, yeah.
Yep. And there's 1 planning board.
So then there's 4 of us, and there's a total of 5 people who've accepted the position.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I think we call that a quorum. And
Yeah.
there's no specific RSA apparently that.
So Bill's the alternate.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So to the
The
planning board.
alternate to the planning
Yeah,
board.
to Jane.
Oh, yeah.
So
Gotcha.
so I think we can still move forward. It's just no voting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that
because
works.
Chris is going to come, she said she's just going to be a little late. So
Well, actually, even with 5, we'd still have a quorum.
Yeah.
3 of us.
right. So for the meeting, we can move forward just voting. So Jane, if you want to in the microphone say we're ready, or call them,
How do
or
we do that?
oh, look at the screen. Are we on?
Yeah, the screen's up.
All right, so let's go. Yeah, so I can facilitate right now. All right, great. Welcome to the 2025 Capital Improvement Program meeting. We will, first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God,
indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Okay. Since we don't have a voting quorum, we're going to bypass the meeting minutes and the election of chair and vice chair. And then before we move on to the presentation, review, and vote on the CIP requests, I'll just do introductions. Bart McDonough, I'm the planning director and CIP committee facilitator. So I'll be here through this time. So I'll pass it to Gary.
Gary Swanson for the school board.
Jane Ford, Planning Board.
Bill Cherry, an alternate on the planning board and an alternate on this committee.
Great, awesome. So move forward. So we'll do presentation, review, and vote on the following CIP requests. So we'll start with Department of Environmental Services, Director Greg.
Can I ask a procedural question? So
Yes.
When we go to vote, I mean, were we voting on just the new requests or the existing ongoing requests?
Well, so basically we give a designation and then make recommendations on the amount. So so each department head has presented a figure, and then we can go through. You can make adjustments to that, or recommendations to that adjustment, and then you make the designation, basically. So there's 2 things you're voting for on the designation and then the amount.
Okay.
Yeah. Great, so I'll come down here. Okay. So we'll start right here. So I think we'll start with sewer, Sean, if that's where you want to start.
That's fine.
Okay.
So I really don't have any really new major requests. They're pretty much the same requests as years past because we built this model. And the model, the way it's built, is so that we maintain a lot of our assets and put us in the best spot to go for state revolving funds and other grants. So the one thing I do want to go over for the sewer department is, the sewer department has a couple major capital improvement projects going on right now, and that's the septage receiving station at the wastewater plant, which is going to move all the septage that is being dropped off at the Creighton Street, get it out of the park, and build a septage receiving station at the wastewater treatment plant to get it off the waterfront. The other thing is that the Creighton Street pumping station is not designed to handle a lot of septage, and in the past 3 years, we've actually taken in about 18 million gallons of septic, which has generated almost $1.8 million in revenue. So that's one major project we have going on. The other major project that we're actually just kicking off is an asset management and a master plan for the wastewater department. That is going to be a major undertaking. It should take us about 9 months to a year to complete, which will create a roadmap for the wastewater department moving forward. So, like I said before, we have not changed a lot for our requests. They're pretty much similar, the same requests that we've had in the past. One other project that I did not mention is the Bay Road Lift Station project, force main. I don't know if some of you knew, we actually had a leak in the force main a couple of years ago, and we're working on moving that force main. That is not in here because we've secured a SRF loan for that and some other grant funds, and we're moving forward in that direction. Right now, the project is we're working on getting easements for that force main, and we're also working on the design of that force main. So, do you have any questions that you would like on the wastewater side?
Could you, oh, go ahead.
So the wastewater management plan that you're doing, would that also be looking at the potential for extending sewer anywhere? If we're going to increase capacity, or not that I'm pushing it, I'm just wondering if that's...
So the master plan is basically going to be like a report card. First, it's going to look at all our infrastructure and grade it, see what needs to get done. It's also going to look at capacity for the next 20 years to see if we have enough capacity at the wastewater treatment plant by looking at where we could extend the sewers.
Yeah, I'm thinking like areas along Bay Road or New Road or...
Yes, and that was all done as part of the, we actually did a capacity survey a few years ago, which showed that we actually had enough at the wastewater treatment plant to meet those expansions.
So if you did extend sometime in the future, where would that money come from? Would it come out of the existing, or you put in a new request?
Those extensions are sometimes borne by the developer, and we do not actually pay for anything for those extensions. I can't remember the last time we paid for an extension on the water or the sewer.
Yeah, we haven't had an extension of the sewer in a while, right?
Yeah, the only major extensions we've had is on the water when it went out to, Moody Point, and Moody Point paid for that.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I was just thinking in regards to the master plan, future needs.
So kind of to your point, Bill, where it's really dovetail well, Sean this year requested, money to be spent towards that master plan, the sewer master plan. So that can dovetail well within the plan board's master plan as well, reference, and, so there's cross-referencing there.
We also develop new system development fees.
Yep.
For extensions. So when someone adds like a house or a major building of any size,
Yep.
they are charged accordingly for buying into the system based on what we have for infrastructure.
Just talking, and the other potential area I see was, the industrial park, as a potential area for extension.
That's been talked about for a long time.
Yeah.
And it is pretty far down.
Yeah.
Elevation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just kind of recap to what you have in front of you for Sean's very detailed schedule for all these, all the sewer infrastructure. This hasn't changed really at all. There might have been slight adjustments just because of cost. I think last year there was like a slight adjustment.
There was very
Yeah.
minimal adjustments, and it's hard, once we update the pump stations, we have 5 pump stations we need to update. Those will be brought into the same way we've brought the equipment and stuff that is in here for the plant. It's hard to bring in a pump station that's 40 years old,
Yeah.
so.
And as you can just see here, just bring your attention. A lot of these updates are going to be coming in the next 10, 20 years, 15 years. So at least some of these replacements.
I do foresee probably one of the first things that be coming about is the Creighton Street pump station is going to need some major improvements, which we are setting money aside in here for
Yep.
that. And we are also setting money aside in here for the other pump stations that need improvements to do the engineering and do the preliminary work for.
And Sean, can you just describe one more time the funding of these capital reserves? Just, I think there's some new members here, so.
So
Yeah.
all the money that goes into these capital reserves are all from sewer fees. Nothing comes from the tax base.
Thank you. So, from the sewer side, anything jump out at people? You don't have to, we can have a discussion later, but is there anything you want to have Sean go in more detail on the sewer side?
I think the only thing I would think of is the benefit. You could argue reduces liability, but depending on, new pumping stations and that sort of thing, but that would be the only thing I would maybe question if we could include that, but
Reduces liability, gotcha.
I don't think it's an imperative
Oh, for the, scoring.
for the benefits. Yeah.
Yep, benefits. Yeah. Great.
And then just to clarify, so the only project you perceive moving forward with is the pumping stations
Yes.
in the next 5 years? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
What about the Bay Road?
The Bay Road was not put in here because it's all
Funded.
funded, it's all set out of SRF funds and through ARPA grants and those kind of things.
Great.
Sean, quick question. Tell me what your definition is between the difference between necessary and compulsory. A lot of this stuff I'm thinking is compulsory, but
So we have our definitions.
I'm just curious how you.
Like specifically what you're calling compulsory,
Yeah, so we,
I guess.
yeah, I can read through them.
Yeah.
So compulsory we have is if the project is required by statute, law, regulation, contract, or other obligation. And necessary is the project is needed to maintain existing standards or level of service.
Isn't, if you think about it, to sustain necessary service, that's compulsory, isn't it?
Well, it's not a law requiring us to maintain that amount of service. We could
Yeah.
decide to cut it in half, right? We still have to have the same standards of
Yeah,
the law.
Maybe, that's what I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah,
And
I-
understand.
I guess it's kind of a hard thing to describe, I guess,
Yeah.
from my point of view, because a lot of this stuff is necessary because it's driven by the EPA permits, you know?
That's why I'm thinking it's compulsory.
It's something that we have to maintain, it's something we
Yep.
have to get done. The reason we've set this up the way it is because when we got the money through rural development, we had to set something up to show that we're putting money aside, and through SRF, we do get more points and stuff by having this program set up like this.
Yep.
So that we can get first in line for grants and those kind of things.
No, and that totally makes sense, but that's
Yeah.
why, when you said a lot of it is EPA driven,
Yes.
that's why I was thinking, in your case, what is the difference between necessary and compulsory?
It's,
Sludge disposal, right? example of compulsory. We can't decide how we're gonna get rid of sludge. There's rules around the disposal of it that we have to follow.
Yes, I mean, we have to find somebody to determine where it's gonna go. If it's
Yeah.
gonna go to a landfill, or if it's gonna go for land application, depending on what the rules are, and then we choose, and that's how we go.
But necessary might be the pumping station, because without it, we wouldn't be able to maintain that level of services, and we would have to, we could hypothetically,
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's true.
put it in a truck and then bring it to the station, and you'd reduce the amount of services, so that would be a necessary, would be my
I
interpretation.
mean, necessary is like the Creighton Street pump station. We have to maintain it. It has to work. Because if it doesn't work, no wastewater gets to the wastewater plant.
Which
It go-
makes it compulsory.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, see, I'm looking at different, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a, you know, it's both, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, I was just asking, 'cause
Yeah.
what you do, we can't have a town if you don't do what you need to do, so that's why I was asking.
Smaller pump than the Creighton Street pumping station, we wouldn't be able to give the same level of services.
well, I would say you can't because it's designed to meet what
I
we
know
get.
that, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
hypothetically, right? Or
Yeah.
we could say we're gonna double it and then
Yeah.
decide not to, because
Yeah.
it's not necessary for the level of services.
Yeah, so different ways it's compulsory and other ways it's necessary.
Yeah, no, it's fine, I was just
It's
curious.
yeah, it's kind
Because I
of,
just think of you as
Yeah.
being compulsory, that's just me,
Yeah.
so. That's why I
person.
I'll say that about you too, don't worry.
Necessary.
It's great. I'll tell my wife that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
No, it's hard, you know, because
Yeah.
we're stuck within so many rules and what we have to do. And, you know, based on those pumps, the state approved what we put in there for pumps. So we can't change them because the state told us, or unless we get approval from the state.
Since you've been in the position, this is night and day, so outstanding work.
Thank you.
So if there's no other questions for Sean on the sewer side, we can transition to water. If everyone's comfortable with that? Great.
So the water, I will say that we have just completed a master plan for the water. It is actually online if anybody wants to go look at it. Just to give you a background of the water, people that have been in town a long time, the town has actually had water bans and water issues and water quality issues, and we just completed a major capital improvement projects of the water system, which included several water mains being replaced, notably South Main Street, Bay Road, Cushing Road, and New Road. We have built a new water treatment plant, a new well, and the water treatment plant serves the McIntosh well and the Tucker well to remove arsenic. And we just upgraded the Bennett and Sewell wells. So I don't know if people have noticed, but other communities are putting in water bans right now because we have not had much rain in the past few months. The town of Newmarket's water system is fine. We can have plenty of water for everybody, and we are not going to be putting a water ban in the future anytime soon. So we're in great shape on our supply. The one thing that the Underwood engineers who did the report for the master plan, they showed that we do not have enough storage, and that our current storage tank, about a quarter of it is actually usable. So they recommended that we do a hydraulic grade line study and to construct another water tower to meet our storage needs. We have a 750,000 gallon water storage tank. They showed in the study that we're about 738,000 gallons short, so they propose another 750,000 gallon water tower. Yeah, that's putting some money away for it. We need to purchase some land. In addition, they recommend that we secure some easements to protect our water sources. And then they recommend in the next 20 years that we replace an additional 5 miles of water main. We still have, I want to say 3 to 4 miles of 1890 water main in our system. So that's a background of our water system. They did say that our water system compared to graded very well compared to other water systems, that we're in great shape. If you read it, it's kind of like a report card, and we did very well. So there's not, like, on this, I did not ask for a lot of changes. This is set up the same way as the wastewater side is. It's replacing equipment, making sure that we have, we're maintaining our equipment. So in the future, I think the biggest thing we're gonna see in the next 5 years, once we get this hydraulic grade line study done, I'll be coming back and asking to move ahead more with the water tower, and the current water tower needs quite a bit of work. But we can't take it offline without having another water tower.
The tower costs $3 million. You're putting aside $100,000 a year?
Do we have any?
Right now, that's what we can afford. If I could afford more, I'd put more in there.
Do we have any reserve already? And do we have a capital reserve fund already established for this? Is this starting?
That will make about $500,000. We're building on what's already in there.
Yeah, so it's within the existing water capital, so within the water capital reserve fund, there's a line item there that Sean's saving towards, so stocking away. That's my understanding, yeah.
400,000.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So we're trying to be proactive, but on the other side, I'm trying to get grants and, other funding so that we can maybe have some other person help us out with the cost of the water tower.
And I guess your constraining factor for increasing it is just the number of additional costs. And so in other words, without raising rates, you can't afford to put more than $100,000 in a year.
Exactly, yes, until, and the other thing is what we're working on now is, we just got all this infrastructure in. I'm working on how to optimize that infrastructure and see if we can't save some other money, so there will be some other funds we can put in there. But right now, we need to raise rates a little bit more, and I can't afford to put, right now, a lot more in there without raising rates.
So I think that was the point. When would we expect to start actually doing work on some kind of land acquisition, identifying?
I've already identified the land, and we're ready for discussions on that, so
Oh, okay. We're actually moving forward.
yes, we are. So right now, the first step is I've identified the land, talking with the landowner, and we're also doing that hydraulic grade line evaluation, which we need before we even move forward. So we're inching along.
Yeah, I know it's not necessarily the purview of this committee, but I think it would be interesting to know how much has been saved and what we're already spending things towards kind of in the future to understand where we're at. Because it's hard to say,
Yeah.
100,000 makes sense when we don't know the context.
Yep, yeah, more of a line item, within the reserve, what money has been squirreled away and, saved towards already. Yeah, Sean does have that, more detail.
Yeah, I have all
Yeah, right there.
sheet.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're gonna need to do this in the next 5 years, right?
We're planning on it in the next 5 years. And it could change, because it could change if, all of a sudden there's a good funding package.
Yeah.
You know how that works. You just never know. I mean, for example.
Not so much these days, though.
No, but I mean, on that point, on the Bennett well, the reason we moved forward was because of, we got lucky. They gave us a funding package, but then another community got a funding package, but they couldn't get any of the grant money because their level of income wasn't there. So a $2.2 million project turned into a $600,000 project. So, I mean, you have to be ready. And my point is, let's try and be as ready as we can, so if something good comes along, we can take advantage of it. Bless you.
I feel like Bill and I are kind of in the same like, we agree with you, but we're not sure if 100,000 is enough to be ready.
Oh, no, but we're gonna build, I mean, any
Yeah.
little piece. And,
Yeah.
and like I said, I have some other things, we have to finish up the projects that we're doing now before we can finally make that jump. And there's some other things in the background that are happening, but I think this is prudent of what us to do now. It's kind of like your house, you kind of do what you can, and then at the end, I mean, you try and do the best you can, and, and at the end, you hope that you have a little bit more and you move ahead.
Great. Any questions for Sean? Further questions?
With regard to storage, during this dry time, I'd imagine you probably have to back off on Bennett and Sewell, no?
No, and see, that's the thing. We knew we needed both supply and storage. But my point was, let's work on supply, because we can keep that small tank full. If we did a big tank without doing supply, we'd have no water to put in the tank. So we did first what we could, so that would put us in a good position. So it did buy us a little time, because we can keep that tank full with our supply.
My point was if whatever the workhorse well is goes down for some reason, can the others kick in a dry time?
So, McIntosh and Tucker are our biggest wells. However, using those, it costs twice as much to produce a gallon of water out of those. So you're kind of stuck, because Bennett and Sewell, they may be the smaller wells, but they cost half as much to produce water. So you have to try and figure out how to blend that and make that, the best for, the lowest cost, but protecting your wells, your water sources. It's a game. Better now that I have 4 wells. But I go through this time and time again, and what we're trying to do now is optimize to see how we can operate those wells so that they all stay healthy, but we are also not, so that we're doing it at the lowest cost. It's not simple.
You do, I'm just curious, as a blended rate?
What do you mean by blended rate?
So unless I misunderstood, you said the 2 largest wells cost more
Yeah,
to produce, I'll say, a gallon, okay, versus the other 2 wells, correct?
Yeah.
So when you look at it, do you always separate the cost, or you do it as a blended rate? $1, 25 cents, 25 cents
so
equals
I
$1.50.
do both.
You do both, okay.
I separate it, and then, because I like watching the numbers to see how they all fit. But I really have to, this is going to take time to make happen, because I also have to watch the health of the wells.
Right.
And right now is a great time to pump Bennett and Sewell a little bit more to see how they react and how we can make that work.
So you're just optimizing. You just
Yeah.
go through the.
And it takes time. You can't just do this in a day. You have to watch it over time.
Right.
I can't. And it's hard.
Yeah.
But now I'm not gonna sleep at night, but.
Yeah.
We got plenty of water.
Yeah,
I mean,
plenty of
it's
water.
the end of the
Encourage
game.
using it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Sean?
Awesome as always.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean, thank you so
Thank
much. Yeah, appreciate your work. Okay. So next on the docket, we got Department of Public Works and Engineering. And here today to present is Lindsay Butler, the town engineer. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thanks, Bart. So for Public Works and Engineering, most of these requests are repeat requests from previous years. The sidewalk development request, or sidewalk expansion request, roadway improvement request, stormwater management, stormwater asset management, and MS4 general permit compliance. Those are all repeats. The 2 new ones that are included in here are for the Ash Swamp Bridge culvert replacement. It actually says bridge rehab on here, but that's not. It's, for clarification purposes, the bridge over the Piscassic was rehabbed this spring, so that work is done. The culvert is further south towards the golf course, or I guess it would be east, sorry. Further east towards the course and like 108. And that's the culvert we're looking at. Yes, that's the one. Turtle Crosswalk. It's to go towards that project. We've been working with New Hampshire Fish and Game Department on, they have a larger initiative to address road culvert or road bridge crossings with high risk of mortality for imperiled wildlife, and this crossing was identified. So we've been working with them to be part of their larger project, and they have been informed that they should receive federal grant funding for that work, which would cover the vast majority of the cost of this culvert replacement. So assuming everything continues on the path it's going and we do receive that funding, we are asking for the $20,000 to go towards our match. We committed a match of $76,000 that could be provided through cash and in-kind funds, in-kind services. So we would provide staff time and assistance. Our DPW staff would be able to do some of the hauling and reduce overall costs of the project, and we could use that as our match. So this $20,000 ask is to help offset the cost or go towards the match. And if for some reason that grant funding doesn't come through, we would look to use that for the culvert replacement, save that in reserves for when we do need to replace the culvert, because that is a need in general. And then the other one is the pedestrian bridge replacement, which is the pedestrian bridge just downstream of the McAllen Dam in downtown. And that is deteriorating at a faster rate than it was anticipated when it was installed, likely due to the environment. It's in a saltwater spray from the dam, and it wasn't designed for that type of saltwater environment. So we are monitoring it. Have engineers come out to do some structural evaluations. They've done that in a couple of years. And we are planning for a rehab or replacement there, and that is also potentially part of that Bay Road Force Main project that Sean identified. So the request is to put some funds away so that we'll be prepared for that rehab or replacement in the coming years.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't know, did you want me to talk about the other ones that were previously?
Yeah,
or
just briefly mention the other ones. So
Okay.
let's start with
So the request for the roadway management is the town has a pavement management plan, and we look to resurface or reconstruct as needed roads throughout town. They've all been scored with a pavement condition index number, and we pick the ones with the lowest PCI scores and try to address those as we go through. So this ask hasn't changed in recent years. We've been able to address some roads, and DOT has done a good job supporting and addressing some of the DOT maintained roads in town this past spring, which is great. So that kind of ups our road maintenance for this year. And then
So if you have to upgrade roads, is drainage and catch basins and things, and that same fund?
for the most part, yes. We also supplement with the stormwater management capital reserve fund when we get into an area where we need to address more. For the majority of the roads that have been identified thus far, it's been fairly minimal culvert replacements and some like rehabs of basins.
Or like Pagas Falls, is that?
Packers Falls is an interesting one because that's actually DOT maintained. So that's DOT's road, and we worked with them through this spring and summer feverishly to come to an agreement that they are paying for the drainage that the town is doing the replacement for, because they did not have staff resources to get the replacement done before the repaving. That's planned for coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we're using our staff resources and DOT's money.
That's nice.
Any other questions on road management? Yeah.
Just, not to add it, I just wondered, if another line item was needed for drainage improvements, a separate funding thing, I don't know.
It is something that we do anticipate using from the Stormwater Management Capital Reserve. That was kind of, my understanding is it was established to cover the stormwater regulatory requirement components, regulatory compliance, and also to help fund when we need to do replacements. When we have failures, we did have a couple of culvert failures, one on Bay Road that wasn't draining, we had to replace and provide an extension, and that typically comes out of that Stormwater Management Capital Reserve.
This might be slightly off the topic, but if you go to a conference or if you network with another person in your same professional position in another town, how often is a failure like that happening? Because a lot of these must be kind of all the same vintage, and a lot of them, I'm just curious, like where are we in the scale of like happening a lot, happening not so much, happening not at all, or compared to, don't name a town, but compared to somebody else, like aren't we lucky, or isn't that too bad, or?
I would say in general we're doing pretty well compared to some of the folks in surrounding towns that I talk to. It helps that the vintage around here, particularly in the rural areas, is pretty relatively new or somewhat recently replaced. And we also don't have a lot of major, aside from the major rivers, we don't have a lot of major flooding concerns because a lot of that has been addressed since 2006-07 timeframe. So we're in a fairly good position with that stuff.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess a couple of questions. There's Public Works vehicles is in this packet. I assume is that intentional?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So I can ask you about that?
Yeah.
You can ask, and I can do my best to answer, but the Public Works Director did most of
Wait
that,
till Rick
so
comes in?
I may defer.
That's the Silverado pickup. It shows the replacement years last year. Did we not replace it last year? Because we're requesting 39,000 this
I
year.
don't think we did.
For next year, right?
There wasn't, I think
Oh,
the
okay.
expenditures, if you look at the front page of DPW, I don't have it in front of me, but I listed what the resolutions were last year. I think they did it for different vehicles, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Expenditures, so they did 100 and, I have to look it up, but they did spend some money on vehicles, so I had to see if it was that Silverado or not. I don't remember, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was, I think it was something
That
else.
would make sense.
Yeah.
And then as far as the sidewalks funding, does this include maintenance of the sidewalks, or is this strictly new sidewalk work?
Primarily new sidewalk work. We could use it for maintenance, I suppose, but we have not. In recent years, it's been addressing the expansions and filling in the gaps based on our sidewalk expansion plan. Mhm.
On that, you want to talk about the sidewalk expansion plan?
Sidewalk expansion plan, we have been working off a study that Underwood Engineers did in 2019 to identify areas of town where we had noticeable gaps, where people are walking between portions of sidewalk or walking along roads where there's not existing sidewalk. So there have been a number of roads that were identified as part of that study that sidewalk has been installed, including New Road, Young Lane, South Main Street, Grant Road now, yep, thank you. Thanks, Bill. And so, yeah, South Main Street, Bay Road, yeah, and so with those being completed, what remains is Bennett Way and Hersey Lane, and then Salmon Street and Piscassic Street. Those are the four that were part of that study that have been identified, and we are looking to tackle next the segment of Bennett Way. There is sidewalk from 108, maybe like 2/3 of the way up Bennett Way, but then it stops near the Cherry Hill Apartments, and it doesn't reach the sidewalk that exists on Hersey Lane. So we want to close that gap and install sidewalk there. And the sidewalk on Hersey Lane is not in very good condition, so we want to replace that. And I think there are a few segments that we want to potentially look at doing some crossings on the other side, since the newer developments have gone in and that work is complete. So those are what we're looking to tackle and what this ask is contributing to.
Question on that. Do you have an anticipated completion of the existing plan? And maybe have you thought about at some point considering doing an update to the plan?
Yes, we would love to do an update to the plan. We have not talked about when that should happen. I would, if we can address, if we have enough funding to address Hersey Lane and Bennett Way this year, we could potentially, if funding is available for the Salmon Street and Piscassic the following year, address that the following year and could be done in '28.
Okay. Great.
The sooner the better, because costs keep going up.
Yes.
And people keep expecting more
And,
and more
yeah.
of a walkable city, so, a walkable town.
Yep.
Hersey Lane would be somewhat tricky and costly.
It is going to be costly. That was one of the, it's also one of the longest stretches that was identified in the extension plan to be addressed.
But the new sidewalk machine, what's it called? Sidewalk scraper, sidewalk snow blower? Bingo.
Yeah.
Prize goes to Bart McDonald. Can certainly do anything that we presented in the way of grades or turns or anything like that, right?
I don't drive it, so I can't say from
Yeah.
personal experience, but I believe so. I haven't heard of any specific issues
Yeah.
in areas where we currently have sidewalk.
I was just thinking about the train of Hershey. I bet it can.
We're not changing the grade, so I hope so.
We're not changing the grade, that's right. We could have a luge team, hey.
Okay. Moving on to is that stormwater?
We kind of already talked about the stormwater asset management and
MS4.
MS4 compliance. Those are the repeat ones to
Yep. And then bridge, yeah. So
bridge.
okay.
Culvert.
And bridge.
Culvert.
All right. Yeah.
Sure.
Just wondering if there'd be any need for any stormwater BMP construction somewhere for regulatory compliance?
That is a good question. Thanks to the Director of Environmental Services, we have been incorporating stormwater control measures in additional projects. So we have been able to relatively easily meet that regulatory requirement of installing new BMPs when we have projects going in. One particular was that we just took credit for this past year, or we will when I submit the annual report, is a stormwater control measure going in at Public Works and Fire Department. The Environmental Services built a storage shed on that parcel basically behind the fire department bays, and a stormwater control measure went in with that to address the stormwater runoff from the shed and a portion of the parking lot.
Yeah, that's great. I just added, because you know, it's pretty expensive, right? I mean, it could be $200,000 just for one BMP.
Yeah, and we have our inventory of facilities with potential for retrofits so that we can address those going forward. We have the police department and town hall slated for potential renovation addition, and when those happen, we'll incorporate BMPs there. When we have opportunities for roadway reconstruction, we try to incorporate there, like with the Cushing Road stormwater management project that we're trying to move ahead with as well.
Looking out for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great. Any other questions for Lindsay? Great. Thank you, Lindsay.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, looks like, unfortunately, last minute Rick couldn't make it, but for the fire department aspect, but it's the same request as it's been past at least 3 years, since I've been on this committee, is just the lease payment for the engine. And then other, I think just, that's the only thing he's been putting in fire department. Here we go. So just a little background here. This committee has recommended to town manager and council that capital reserve shouldn't be utilized this way for lease payments and more of a general budget item. The police department did a similar thing where they stopped their leasing a lot of their vehicles and they transitioned out of the capital reserve route and gone towards just making it as a general line item in the general fund. So just a little background there. Looks like he's not Chief Mulaski's not asking for any additional monies for the other items, the other vehicles that the fire department has. So just making the payment for the E1 pumper. So not too much to it, I suppose. So yes. So I guess moving forward, those are our presenters this evening. Do you want to have just a general discussion right now over what you've heard, or we can save it for the meeting on Wednesday? If we want to save that discussion for Wednesday, I think what we can do is circle back to at least item number 3, it's the election of chair and vice chair. So how do folks want to proceed?
So when you say discussion, you mean vote on
Yeah.
whether we determine it to be necessary and
Yeah, necessary.
and the funding amount.
Correct, funding
Okay.
amount and the designation of the requests.
I think I would suggest, since it's fairly early and we do that chunk we've already looked at, and then the next chunk Wednesday. Does that make sense?
Okay, either way.
Can you, I didn't get to hear a big chunk. So is it a terrible slow of the boat if I said, I did all this at home, I saw these things at home, but I could review the tape and then we could do it all
No, no,
Wednesday?
no.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Good point.
I think it's really, it
Have
feels more
Sean come up
fair.
again.
Yeah, let's have him come up
No,
again.
I'm kidding.
I won't go that far,
Yeah.
but,
No.
not to keep you on the edge of your seat about how will we do with our Ds and Ns and Ws and all that, but I would feel better thinking that we could wait.
That's a great point, Chris.
Thank you, Jane, thank you.
Yeah, so maybe we just circle to number 3 then, since we have quorum now. So just be Gary, Chris, and Jane voting on this. Sorry, Bill. So who wants to be chair? Who wants to make a nomination?
Yeah, I can do it, that's fine.
Okay. You want to do it?
Sure. I mean,
No, is
I
Phil
nominate-
out? No, please. Is Phil gone now?
Phil's gone, yes, so Gary took over.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
He's off the board, so I'm the board representative now.
Perfect.
Maybe we can get him back as member at large. Or
Yeah, that'd be great.
citizen at large,
Okay.
maybe.
That could be
Beg him.
helpful, yeah.
I don't think I'll do it, but we get out.
Yeah.
Since he's missed
After
50% of the
charter
meetings.
yeah, after charter commission.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
He's got plenty of time.
yeah.
So do we make a motion to nominate you as the chair?
Yes,
Sure.
go ahead. I'll let you do the nomination, and I'll second it.
You brought it up, you can do it and I'll second it.
Well, I hereby nominate you to be the chair of this year's CIP committee representing us as well as the school.
I would second that.
How are we doing minutes?
So we'll watch the tape, so we'll have someone doing it.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
Okay. So for the record, Gary Swanson.
Here's one.
Yeah.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. And then, just for, because it's in the rules of procedure, we need a vice chair too.
Go for it.
Okay.
Good girl.
I nominate Chris as vice chair.
Perfect. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. All right, great. So that's so I'm not sure if you looked at the 9/11/2024 minutes. If not, we can postpone that to the next meeting. There is a link there to the tape as well, if you want to kind of review the virtual recording of it.
So, Bart, just a quick question. Since most people weren't on it,
They can still vote for it.
They
If you
can?
approve the minutes.
Okay,
yeah.
I just wanna make
That's
sure,
not a
okay.
problem, no.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too,
Isn't
because
usual.
boards need some clarification on that, because it
Yeah.
has been historically, people say, oh, and here I'll abstain.
No.
But
Right.
that's not what you're voting on. You're voting
Correct.
on the document being true and
Yeah.
Exactly.
accurate.
Yep. And we have, like I said, there's a recording of it, so you can go back to that
Yeah.
recording, review it, and so we don't have to do that now. If people haven't had the chance to refresh their memories, or there's you looking at it for the first time, so maybe we just continue it to the next meeting on Wednesday. That works for everyone.
I'm comfortable moving forward, but it's up to you folks. I'm comfortable voting.
I mean, I'm just looking through it now. I would think it's fine to vote for it, to be honest with you.
Are you comfortable with
I
it?
think it's fine to vote for it, just because I read it and it was of historical interest to see who said what when and how did the conversation and what kind of questions were asked around us. So I read it. I would say we can vote on it now.
So I'd seek a motion to approve the September 11th, 2024
Seconded.
CIP minutes.
By Jane.
I second it,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, I was seeking a motion.
He
so
said
you
seeking
would
it, so
be-
you're gonna first it and I'll second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hereby make a motion that we accept the minutes from 9/11/2024 meeting notes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Yeah, second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. If I may, Mr. Chair.
Sure. please.
So our next meeting is Wednesday. It's going to be at 6 p.m. We're going to meet downstairs in the auditorium. So just an FYI. So at that meeting, we'll be reviewing requests from the school district, recreation department, police department, and library as well. Library isn't in the packet right now because we just got a new director. So I'm going to meet with him tomorrow to finalize everything, and then I'll provide that ASAP to you all. But he's
Thank you.
planning on coming to the meeting as well. If not him, I'm pretty sure he's going to, but also the chair of the
trust-
board.
Oh, the
board.
trustee,
Yeah,
the
trustee.
friends or the.
Not friends, the
the
board.
trustees.
Yeah, yep. So we'll have them there as well. And then, yeah, so that's what we have in store on Wednesday, so.
Anyone have any other questions that, again, information you want to have for tonight? No?
No, I'm sorry I missed yours, Sean, but I will catch up on the tape.
It was very good.
Yeah.
One of the best of the two we've had tonight.
Well, riveting, truly riveting.
Truly riveting.
Truly.
Mm.
All right.
And I wanted to thank you. Every time you give any kind of presentation, it feels like I leave thinking like, I learned something. You do a great job. Mhm.
All right, seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion second.
Second.
So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 5:56.
Great.